Atma Namaste and welcome. Today we continue with Grandmaster Twakok Sui's Compassionate Objectivity, and we are, let's see, on generosity and non-stealing. All right? So let us invoke for divine blessing. To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, we humbly invoke for your great blessings, your divine light, divine love, divine guidance, help, and divine protection. To Master Twakok Sui, to Mahaguru Jumailing, to all the great ones, all the spiritual elders, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers, we humbly invoke for your blessings, your divine light, divine love, divine guidance, help, healing energy, and divine protection. We thank you in full faith. So be it. All right. So, before we start, why don't we do a quick cleansing, as we always do. So, tap your crown, press the center of your palms, be aware of your feet. Now, just raise your hand like this. Visualize tremendous amount of divine light flowing through you as we chant Om. If you like, visualize your feet under salt water up to your knees. That way, when the divine energy comes down, it'll be disintegrated and goes into the earth to be neutralized. All right? Okay, let's start. Take a deep breath. Om. Om. Just be receptive. The divine energy is entering your crown. Divine energy is cleansing your crown chakras, your forehead, your ajna, your backhead chakras. These chakras are now being cleansed. Any negative thoughts, negative energies are completely disintegrated, extracted, expelled, and properly disposed of. The divine energy is pouring down into your throat chakras and your jaws. Your jaw chakras and your throat chakras are being cleansed. All negative thoughts, negative energies, any blockages are completely disintegrated, extracted, expelled, disposed of properly. The divine energy is pouring down to your front back heart. Your front back heart chakras are being cleansed. Your front back solar plexus chakras are being cleansed. Your front and back spleen chakras and front and back liver chakras are being cleansed. Tremendous amount of divine energy is pouring down and cleansing your Mengmen, your kidneys, your navel, your sex chakra, your basic chakras. Your entire body is hollow. Liquid divine light is pouring down and cleansing all the insides of your body and all your subtle bodies. Just be receptive. It's pouring down to your all and purifying your internal organs down to your knees, down to your feet. So you're like under a waterfall of divine light. Just be super receptive. Let it flow down through your entire body. Om. Om. Just be still, be aware. All your chakras are being cleansed, your subtle bodies are being cleansed, your meridians are being cleansed, your entire body is flooded with divine light, divine love, sweetness, joy, and happiness. So be it. In the name of the Divine Supreme God, in the name of my teacher, Master Twakok Sui, Mahaguru Jumailing, and all the high beings, so be it. All negative cords are also completely cut and severed, properly disposed of. So be it. So be it. All right, open your eyes. Welcome again. So why don't you get up and just do some shake off some of that stress energy or some of the stuff that flushed out of your aura, okay? And when you're ready, pull out your book. All right, we're in page 35. I don't know which version of the book you have. There's a few versions of this. There's a new one also that is very beautiful. We don't have it yet, but we're on page 35 for this version on generosity and non-stealing. All right, let's just go through this. Life is a cycle. It is yang and yin. You have to exhale before you inhale. You must give in order to receive. You have to plant in order to harvest. All right, let's just go through this step by step. So, in pranic healing, you remember, right? You receive and project. Okay, let's make it easy. What happens? You receive, you project, right? So when do we do a simple experiment? Put your hand like this, all right? Try to scan the energy coming out of my palm. Just feel. Okay? Now, watch. I'm going to close my receiving hand. What do you notice? It dropped. I open my receiving hand. It flows more. All right? Next, I want you to use your palm. Instead of scanning this way, put your palm there like this. Put it on top of mine, just to feel how much energy is coming in. All right, ready? So I'm projecting with one, receiving. Okay, put your palm on top of this receiving hand. Try to feel the energy coming down. All right? So you'll notice you feel a slight heaviness or a slight pressure. That's the divine energy, or just prana coming into your palm before it hits my hand. So you're kind of obstructing it, like this. Try to feel how much energy is coming in. All right? Watch. Keep feeling. It stopped, or it's at least substantially slowed down. All right? Now watch. I'll increase the energy flowing through here. May all of you be blessed by God. May you be blessed by Master Chokhok Sui, Mahaguru Jumeli, and all the high beings. Blessings be to all of you. What do you notice with the energy coming in? It's absorbing more, right? Okay, put your hand down. All right, so it's something like this. You know very clearly that you have receiving, you have projecting, right? Now, some of you, you forget yin, yang, yin, receiving, projecting, receiving. This cycle cannot be broken. So the most important thing to remember is this. When you are receiving, you have to learn to give. When you learn to give, you learn to receive. So money, prosperity, love, everything is that cycle, yin and yang. So some of you, this is your problem. You have such a giving heart. You give, you give, you give. By the law of karma, when things improve, blessings are coming, you feel guilty of receiving. So what happened? It causes problem. It's just like exhaling, but you don't want to inhale. So it causes what? Problem financially, emotionally, mentally, even just your overall health. You cannot just keep releasing energy without absorbing, right? Then some of you, this is your problem. Lord God, please bless me, bless me. So you want blessings, right? But you don't want to give. So if you don't give, what happens? There is no room to receive. See, one of them is what? You give, but you don't receive out of guilt. Then the other problem is you receive, but you don't want to give because you're always afraid there's nothing left. You don't realize if you don't let go of something, there is no room to receive. So this cycle cannot be broken. You have to learn to receive, you have to learn to give. You have to learn to give, you have to learn to receive. Most of you already know, money is nothing more than energy in physical form. Well, this is the best demonstration of how energy moves. Receive, you give. Yet, for some of us, we think that we know the law better. We think that we can just give and not receive and it'll work. And some of us think, oh, we can just take without giving and it'll still come in. Where's it going to go? So this thing has to flow. So receive, give, receive, give. That's why you have yin and yang and yin. All right? So let's go through it in more detail. So if you want to receive love, you give love. Some people, they just sit in the corner, don't want to talk to anyone, just stay, like quiet, and hoping that everybody just notice that lonely guy and go over there and talk to them. I mean, for all you know, people are saying, hey, that guy probably wants to be alone. They don't know. Next. Some people, they think that if you keep projecting negative thoughts at someone, that person will just miraculously like you. It doesn't make sense. It's just like trying to plant apple and expecting bananas to come out of the ground. Right? So if you want to give love, if you want to receive love, you have to give love. if you think that somebody doesn't like you and you keep dumping negative energy at them, like, oh, that guy's a bad guy, blah, 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 so on and so on, what do you expect? You suddenly, by being negative and criticizing them, they suddenly become a saint and love you? Ridiculous, right? But for some of us, we think the law is to our bidding, that we can change it anytime we like. You harvest what you plant. So if a person's nasty, if you want that person to love you, the smart thing to do is plant what you want. Loving energy, encouragement, right? When you do meditation, bless them, so that as you plant this, the effect comes back as loving energy. Very obvious, right? Okay, next one. If you want money, give money. If you want to be wealthy, you must give about 10% of what you earn for charitable and spiritual purposes. This will generate prosperity karma. All right, let's talk about it more. If you tithe, you must also be willing to receive the divine blessing of prosperity. If you will not receive it, your capacity to give will be adversely affected. This goes against the law of cycles. All right, let's go through it in detail. This always comes up. We're all in the spiritual path, right? On some way, some are on, rapid speed. Some of us are on snail and turtle speed. Everybody's on the spiritual path. Everybody's on the way path. On the path back to their higher soul and to God, right? All right. So, the law of karma is pervasive. As Master Cho always says, the law of karma is the way for you to navigate, to create and navigate your future, because it's always there. So if you're smart, instead of fighting this law and think you know better, what do? You harness it. It's just like the law of gravity. Whether you like it or not, as long as you're in the universe, there will be gravity. If you're on Earth, everything falls down. Right? So, if you're smart, like, what do you call this? A carpenter. If they want to do a straight line on the wall, all they do is tie a string to some heavy object. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like a plumb line. So the gravity will pull, that heavy object will be pulled by gravity down, making the string straight, so you'll make a perfect straight line. That's harnessing gravity. So the law of karma is like that too. You plant, you harvest. It's just the way it is. But some people, they're upset. They go, oh yeah, but one thing is like, but I want this instead. So they want to plant something and get something else. So that's ridiculous right there. Now, some people, they go like this. They go, well, yeah, but based on my spiritual path, that's not good. In other words, you don't want to give with the intention of receiving. I know some of you are thinking already, oh, I've been brought up, you are not supposed to expect anything when you give. Guess what? That's why it's called the law of karma. It's not somebody else's opinion. You get my point? Some people say, oh, I don't believe in it. You don't believe in it. You understand it. You become a victim of it. Clear? So the law of karma is very, very simple. Whatever you plant, you will harvest. But you say, well, I thought we were taught that when you give, you should give it willingly without anything, expecting anything in return. Guess what? As Message always says, when you plant, you will have a harvest. There is no such thing as a cause without an effect. For every cause, there will be an effect. So the key is to understand what kind of effect it is. So when we give without expecting anything back, it still comes back, not as material prosperity, but in a different form. It comes back as spiritual development. In other words, when you give money to charity, you say you don't want anything back, it still comes back as what? Your heart is opening, you feel good, you feel like you've been an instrument of God, right? That's spiritual development. Your spiritual cord becomes bigger, your crown gets bigger. So it comes back like that, right? So, if you give and you don't say anything, right? You don't care, it comes back, right? If it doesn't, whatever. If you just let it come back on its own, apple seeds produce apple tree. That's why he said, if you want to be prosperous, give money. See, the people says, well, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a massage therapist, whatever. My time is worth so much dollars, rupees, yen, whatever, per hour. In other words, there's a unit of money for every hour that you do something. That's how much your labor costs. So if I'm a medical doctor, let's say each hour costs, I'll just throw out the number, $200, for example. So people say, well, instead of giving $200 to charity, I'll just give 1 hour of my time. That's also tithing. That is correct. That's giving a service. So it is good that you have value your own worth, right? It's good self-esteem. So you give money to charity and, not or, and you also give your time. You see, I remember a message that said something very, very hard-hitting the very first time I took Kriya Shakti with him. It was just shocking. He said, look, if you only want to give services only, the key word is only give services and never give money, if you examine yourself deep down, it's a form of poverty consciousness. See, part of you says, oh, if I give, then I'll have less. You see, it's in your head. But a lot of people are not honest to themselves. They think, oh, they use the spiritual principle to make excuses. But Master Choa, what is it? He cuts it down real deep. When I heard that, I was like, oh, well, he knows me too well. And it's true. A lot of times we don't want to give money because part of us says, well, that's physical. If I just give my time, I can keep giving my time. I got all the time in the world. But you give time, you get time. You plant apple seed, you get apple tree. So if you want, this is what you do. You do both. You give money to charity and be grateful when the blessings come. You give your time in service and your efforts and your whatever expertise you have as a form of service. So you do both. So you plant different seeds, you get different harvest. Not too bad. You get apples, apple seed. Orange tree. Banana tree. And so on and so on. Clear? So a lot of us on the spiritual path, for me, it was one of the most difficult things because the first thing we were taught is what? When you give, never expect anything back. It is better to give than to receive. We all heard this before. But the law is the law. That's why it's called the law, not an opinion. As we give, so shall we receive. This happens on all aspects. All right? So let's continue. And he stresses again, and he probably knows who's reading this. Right? If you tithe, you must be willing to receive the divine blessings of prosperity. If you will not receive it, your capacity to give will be adversely affected. We already said that. Quick recap, right? Receive, give. Give, receive. When this thing accelerates, it manifests as prosperity. You cut it somewhere, it manifests as poverty. When this thing speeds up, you receive, you give, the more you give, and the more you receive, the more you give, the more you give, the more you receive. When you accelerate this, it manifests as prosperity. You stop either one of the input or the output, it manifests as poverty. Poverty in money, poverty in love. Abundance in money, abundance in love, same thing. It's just a form of energy. Clear? All right, let's keep going. Intellectual property is as real as physical property. Intellectual property must be respected. Practice mental non-stealing. Do not buy pirated copies. Stealing generates poverty, karma. All right. Use your conscience. Practice emotional non-stealing. When a person takes what does not belong to him or her, the energy comes down. The energy goes down. The size of the chakras are reduced. All right, let's talk about this. You see, all the virtues are also yin and yang. You already know this. Generosity, that's to generate good karma. That's harnessing the law of karma, right, to get what you want. In other words, whatever you want to harvest, you think of the end result. What is the end result? You plant the right seeds. Very simple. Well, the opposite is also true. Whatever you don't want, don't plant that seed. So message always says, don't steal. Even when you work in the office, the pen, the stapler, the stamps, whatever, this belongs to the office. You work there. You're given the opportunity to use these for the benefit of the office. You are given a salary. When you take those pens, you go, well, they're not going to notice it. The pens are free. I take 20 of them. I go home. I give it to all my kids so they can use it for free. That's stealing. I know what some of you say. Yeah, but that's just a pen. It's only 10 cents each. There's a Chinese saying, with the small, you see the big. With what a person will do with small things, you get a glimpse of what they'll do with big things. Think about it. If a person cannot resist the temptation of one pen, 10, 15 cents, do you really think that person will be able to resist the temptation if there's, $20,000, $100,000 in front of them that nobody will miss for a while if they take it? the temptation is too great. So in building character, message always says, watch the small things, because from the small things, you see the big things. Do not even take, in a hotel, don't take the towel. Oh, the robe, this hotel has nice robe, I'll take it home. Well, of course, they have your credit card, they'll charge you afterwards. But see, it's the mentality. Now, intellectual property, he talked about that. What is intellectual property? Fortunately or unfortunately, it's so easy to move data across the internet, CD, disk, iPods, copying data. So one thing the message says, do not resist, resist that temptation, because stealing could happen on many levels. Let's take the movies as an example. I remember one time, I always tell this story. We visited the Philippines, and some of you know Master Glenn. We went out to shopping for a lot of stuff. Everything is cheap, compared dollar to peso. And we got a hold of these videos. One DVD is like 3 movies: Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, or something like that. Really, really great deals, and it's only $1 for one DVD with 3 movies, and we got a stack of them. I remember we went to Master Cho's house. We're saying, Master Cho, look at this. We got a real great deal. He looked at us. He goes, that is stealing. I don't know about Master Glenn, but in my case, I was so, fixated, so excited about this great deal we got. I said, Master Cho, it's a great deal. It's a good deal. Look how much. He looked at me and goes, that is stealing. And for some reason, when he looked at my eyes, he just, wow, that is stealing. First thing he asks is, can you afford it if you bought those? Oh, yes, Master. Well, so why did you have to do that? Well, because it's a good deal. Sometimes the students, it dents. I go, ah. And he goes, that's stealing. So Master Glenn and I, the two of us look at each other like, oh, you know what we did? We left it. Because it dawned on us that, hey, this is stealing. If you watch a movie, any country they have, after the movie they have all these credits of all these names, right? Or you get a DVD, you have all these people, the producer, the musician, the person who sang, whatever, right? Any kind of production. Guess what? Each of those names have to be paid. Imagine you're the one who produced this music. You worked so hard, you were inspired, you sang it, you recorded, you put your money in, you invested, you say, oh, you want to get this to everybody. And then somebody just steals it from you. How do you feel? Right? Let's say you're a producer of a great movie. You made millions. Right? But you had to spend millions probably of somebody else's money and probably your time, your effort, your knowledge into it. And then somebody just, instead of going and watch a movie, instead of whatever, they just copy it and start giving to all their friends. How would you feel? So this is one of the lessons. See, technology moves forward, but the virtues stay the same. Technology moves forward and changes, but the virtues stay the same. So this is a lesson for a lot of us. And, it's life. And one thing about Master Cho is he does not pull punches. He just tells you in your face. And when I heard that, I just, wow, he is right. So we left those videos. So do your best, meditate on it, think about it. We're not judging you. Nobody's judging you. You are judging yourself. So it's something like this. When something is easy, does it make it right? Just because, some people say, yeah, but it's so easy to just get a copy from someone. Yeah, it's easy to get it from someone, but doesn't make it right. Yeah, somebody give me a copy of this movie. Instead of going watch it, I'll do this. Okay, it's easy, but does it make it right? Clear? So just meditate on these things. You see, if the teacher was physically here, that's how he would teach us. So I hope you don't mind. I'm just sharing, in my humble opinion, how I interpret what the teacher taught. Clear? Just meditate on these things. Now, look at it like this. The teaching is divided into 3 parts. 1, do unto others as you want them done unto you. Right? If you want to be prosperous, you give and you tithe. Next, do not unto others as you don't want them done unto you. So if you don't want them to steal from you, don't steal from other people. That's part 2. What's part 3? Part 3 is, what if you already did it? I mean, all of us make mistakes. It's part of growing up. We all make mistakes, right? As we make mistakes, we learn from them, we evolve. So here's the question. What if we already did? We stole, we hurt people financially, so on, so on, so on. What do you do? Number 1, learn the lesson. Oh, don't do that again. If the temptation comes up again, okay, no. Somebody says, I can give you 5 copies of this movie. It's still playing in the theaters, whatever. You just say, thank you very much. I'm not interested in the movie. Something like that. You don't have to make them feel bad, like, oh, you're going to burn in hell. You don't have to do that. What's important is you. Don't be judgmental because, hey, as you know the law, you go there and judge. You better make sure before you judge somebody that you don't have anything in your closet that people judge you for. That's why Messenger always told us, practice kindness. Even if truth has to be told, it has to be done with kindness. And if it's going to be super hurtful and destroys the person, keep your mouth shut. Right? So if somebody says, oh, do this, do that, I want to give you this copy. Thank you. But I'm okay. Just leave it there. Right? So number 1, learn the lesson. Number 2, if necessary, make reparations. But some of these mistakes we've made have been way in the past, right? We stole from someone, we stole from this, stole from that. Okay, it's in the past. We learned the lesson, that's in the past, we cannot change it anymore. So what do? What you do is you tell the higher beings, look, I've learned my lesson. Not only will I not take people's stuff, I will take the extra step and help people in need. I will actually give money to charity to show that not only will I not take, I will give, and not only do I give, this money will actually help someone. You see, when you steal, you deprive someone. Right? If you want to show you've learned the lesson, not only do you not steal, you'll give money even to people who haven't done anything to you, like the beggar, disaster areas in other parts of the world. You give to show what? That you learned the lesson. Not only are you not hoarding, you're taking the extra step of being generous. Clear? So the lessons are very, very simple. People can write books and books and books, and you can. But Master Choi just cuts right through it and say what? It's as simple as following the golden rule, which is 2 parts. Plant what you want to harvest. Do not plant what you don't want to harvest. And if you already planted bad seeds in the past, learn the lesson. Don't plant any new bad seeds. Plant new seeds that are good. All right? So let's move on. When a person takes what does not belong to him, the energy goes down. That's why you feel guilty if you take something that's not yours. No amount of rationalization will help. Temporarily, we fool ourselves. But when in our quiet times, our higher self says, hey, you made a mistake. Okay? So, I like this. The soul develops by giving, not accumulating. The soul develops by giving, not accumulating. Sharing physically how? Tithing, giving money to charity, right? What else? Love, you nurture other people, make people feel loved, help those in need. Mentally, how are you generous with your mental faculties? You teach. Spiritually, how are you spiritually generous? When we do meditation to in hearts, you bless. When you do your meditation, the divine energy comes down, it radiates to your loved ones and friends. That's a form of spiritual generosity. Every time we do our meditation, we really focus on blessing specific areas that are in need, loved ones and friends that are in need. That's spiritual generosity. Clear? So, invoking for God's blessing. Just close your eyes. You know what? Wait, open your eyes first. Why don't we do this? Just to make the lesson deeper, scan your crown. Scan your ajna, your throat. So crown, ajna, throat, heart, right? Basic chakra. Just to get an idea. Crown, ajna, throat, heart, basic. You ready? All right. Put your tongue on your palate. Silently follow me. Lord God, thank you for blessing me with the virtue of generosity and non-stealing, and a compassionate heart that I may give and share to those in need. Thank you also for blessing my life with abundance, wealth, and riches, with thanks and in full faith. Lord God, thank you for blessing me with the virtue of generosity, non-stealing, and a compassionate, giving heart. Thank you that I may give and share to those in need. Thank you for blessing my life with abundance and prosperity in full faith. So be it. Lord God, thank you for blessing me with loving and generous heart. Thank you for blessing me with the virtue of generosity and non-stealing. Thank you for blessing me with abundance and prosperity, with thanks and full faith. So be it. In full faith, so be it. Just be still. So be it. All right. You ready? Scan your crown. It happened. Big. Ajna, throat, heart, basic chakra. So the first part is when you make this prayer, and you can change the words if you like. If you've taken Kriya Shakti, you've learned the meditation prosperity, which is more in depth. All right. So when you practice this, what happens is you are able to experience more inner peace, and it's like self-programming yourself to be more prosperous, more giving, be happy with sharing. Clear? Now, it's something like this. One thing I noticed about Master Cho is he's the most generous person I've ever seen. Generous with his time, generous with his money, generous with teachings, generous with nurturing. So let us use the teacher, the virtues the teacher has mastered. Let's look at the life of the teacher and learn from him. You see, I cannot tell you how many times you can ask a lot of the students who have walked with him before. We walking down the street and see somebody hungry, a beggar. And guess what he does? He will stop, pull out money, and give it to them. He doesn't know this person. And then people will say, "Wow, Master, but you don't know, this person might use it to go buy liquor, drink, or have drugs." He said, "It doesn't matter. Look at the person, he's suffering. I cannot just not do anything." He would say, "How could we pray Our Father and watch somebody suffer, our spiritual brothers and sisters suffer, without lifting a finger?" Clear? So this thing about service and tithing, which is, some of you who've taken Arhatic Yoga, remember that's pillar number 4. Service and tithing is very, very important for our spiritual path. Now, I'll kind of weave this in a little bit. You see, a lot of people don't realize this service and tithing, not service or tithing, service and tithing, both. We plant seeds. We plant prosperous karma, good karma. But just like when you plant seeds, they don't grow overnight. There's also lag time. Now, this lag time could be weeks, could be months, could be years, could be even lifetimes. But you have to think. You're not the body, you're not the emotion, you're not the thoughts, you're the soul, you're a spiritual being, right? That occupies these bodies and will occupy new bodies in the future as you evolve. So, as Master Cho says, when we do service and we tithe, the good karma we generate is not only for this lifetime, but when we come back and continue our lives, our spiritual lives next lifetime or the future ones, the good karma we plant now, we can harvest at that time also. So people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, the really prosperous people they are just repeating the same pattern they did in previous lifetimes that got them here in the first place. That's why you heard of a lot of these super rich people giving away, a big portion of their wealth to charity. They've done that before. That's why they're rich in the first place in this lifetime. They're just continuing it. Clear? So don't always think that, it's money or it's comfortable life. That's all you're interested in. Those things are good. But if you look further out, much, much further out, generosity and non-stealing is a very important virtue that will help us have the resources and the right people to help us in future lifetimes to accomplish our goal. Spiritual goal, material goal, whatever goal you have. All right? Just keep that in mind. All right? Let's give thanks. To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, we thank you for your great, great blessings, your divine light, divine love, divine guidance, help, healing, and divine protection. We thank you for blessing us with a giving and generous heart. Thank you for blessing us with prosperity and abundance. Thank you for giving us the wisdom to use this money, to use these resources properly, to be of service to you, O Lord, and to be of service to humanity. We thank you in full faith. Amen. Om. Amin. And so it is. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you learned something. It's a short session, but this is something that has really helped my life, and some of you who can attest that tithing and service really has changed your life. And the nice thing about it is the good karma goes to your loved ones, right? It's just like Master Cho says, you plant an apple seed, you get the whole apple tree with tons of apples, lots of apples, and continue to have apples. You can give those apples to your loved ones and your friends. So this generosity and non-stealing virtue is very, very powerful. It gives your spiritual path the opportunity to be uneventful. In other words, as karma, good or bad, is manifesting, right? It happens. It's old debts and old profits are coming to the surface. When you always do service and tithing, it's like an insurance policy, so you can stay on the path, and it's uneventful. All right, so I think that's it. What else? So stay tuned for next one. The next one is honesty and non-lying. Let's see. Let's take a look. And basically, accurate perception. Oh no, we're done with that. Sorry, it's moderation and non-excessiveness. That's the next virtue. All right, moderation and non-excessiveness. That's the next virtue you're going to tackle. So, thank you very much for joining us. Please leave comments as always. We love hearing from you. And if I was a little too harsh on you this time, I'm sorry. Just doing my job. And I remember personally, that's one of the things that really helped my life is when Master Cho would tell me right in my face. And for me, that's what it took for me to learn the lesson. And if some of you don't need that harsh, sorry, but some of you probably need to be reminded, and I hope we were able to do that, okay? So we're very grateful to be doing the teacher's work, and that's it. And speaking of generosity, if you like to be helpful in this ministry, this video, we call it the spiritual video ministry, video spiritual ministry. If you want to, you're welcome to donate to help cover your costs of doing this. We would love to keep this spiritual video ministry free, because a lot of people said they learned from it, people who cannot afford to come to classes for whatever reason, or some people who life just gets so busy, just watching one of these videos, being reminded of the teacher's teachings, they have them stay on the path, be brought back to the path and continue. And some of them we never hear from, they just watch the video quietly, they do their own thing, that's fine. At least we're doing what we're supposed to do with the best abilities that we have. So we'd love to continue this, and at no cost to anyone. And if in your heart you feel that it's something benefiting you and other people, hey, you're welcome to give. If you don't want to, we'll continue doing it anyway, because we're very honored to have this opportunity to serve this way. All right, so Atma, Namaste. We thank you very much for joining us. May the Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, may Master Cho Kok Sui, Mahaguju Jumiling, and all the high beings richly bless you and your family with good health, happiness, prosperity, abundance, and prosperity. So be it. All right, take care. Bye.